What's up everybody, this is me Wolfflowers here. Hope you guys are enjoying today. Now today I am literally going to watch this because the reason is why, because there's something that caught my attention. I was looking through the whole numbers of SCPs except this one, and then people saying that there's a lot of unexplainable things is going on, but let's go ahead and get started. I don't know what it is neither, so let's get started. Also, I just want to make sure something real quick. Okay, yeah, you guys can hear me, huh? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hello. My name is not important. I represent the ethics committee.
Okay, I can tell you guys that the quality is so bad. I am going to not do the audio and do the 720. If you guys want to know, this is SCP-231. It says the personnel requirements, object class Keter, K-class scenario. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Oh, also let you guys know that with this case scenario, I found this game called the SCP-022. Most definitely I might give it a try. And it's a free, right? Now, I really want to know what other games is over there that is expected to be free. If you guys really want to recommend me other than good SCPs, go ahead and link in the comment it down below with a link in the description or name it so I can look it up. So I am going to start doing it right now. While I'm waiting, I'll let you guys know. Wait, that a lot? Okay, cool. Alright, that's cool. Now, let's go ahead and get started. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just waiting for this one to start rendering. As you can see, there's a lot of white stuff. That's the good part of it. That's the case. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started.
Hello. My name is not important. I represent the ethics committee.
7 seals, 7 rings, 7 brides for the Scarlet King.
Excuse me, what happened here?
The item that we are going to be studying today is SCP-231.
They gather round the natal bed, the foolish and the wise. They fear the child yet to be born, whose voice shall rend the skies.
What? Let me get myself comfortable right quick. Okay, so I gave myself comfortable. So by even looking at it, there's 2 type scenarios. Somebody is actually gonna talk about it about 231, and then the other scenario they were talking about 7 rings, 7 brides, and then they'll come up with children and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let me go ahead and listen carefully and let's talk about it more.
Object class Keter.
The faithful watch the forest for the coming of the king. Their lanterns bright, they wait at night for the new world he shall bring.
Site and personnel requirements. Under Special Order of 05, the following addendum is attached to the beginning of the file for SCP-231-7.
The dragon waits in shadows. His breath will scorch the land. The hero in the castle draws his sword and makes his stand.
All personnel assigned to SCP-231-7 must rotate out for 1 month of psychological counseling after 2 months on site. SCP-231-7 is to be kept in an undisclosed location. All personnel assigned to SCP-231 will be transported there blindfolded from Site-19 by a route including no fewer than 7 different forms of transportation, including, but not limited to aircraft, automobile, underground tunnel, and removal of blindfold during the transport process is grounds for immediate termination.
The princess in the tower is hidden far away, but nothing under heaven can keep the groom at bay.
Man, this person with the red color is so dark. I can't envision that. Let y'all know.
Personnel assigned to SCP-231-7 must undergo heavy psychological testing before being cleared to enter the site. Individuals must score at least 72 points on the Milgram Obedience Examination, be unmarried, have no offspring, and express nothing less than total loyalty to the Foundation.
Wait, so you're doing a psychological to 231-7 for, as if it was like a virgin, like in other words, and follow the procedures of SCP's Foundation. Okay, so that's okay.
Normal psychological screening procedures against Axis 2 disorders are waived, so long as the Class D personnel in question has the mental capacity to carry out Procedure 110 Montauk as needed.
My question is, what the hell is that?
Personnel who express sympathy towards SCP-231-7's plight and or express a desire to rescue or sympathize towards SCP-231-7 will be transferred to another project without delay. Any actual rescue attempts will be met with immediate termination. Personnel who have served on the staff of SCP-231-7's containment team are not required to divulge information to others. No official record shall be kept of the names of any staff assigned to SCP-231-7, nor will said service appear in the personnel files of said staff.
They gather round with leering smiles, the soulless and the dead. Though her soul unwinds, the cruelest minds will keep her in her bed.
While on site.
Damn. Okay, I get it. So, while this man is reading it, he's doing it like in a poetry. Within the poetry, it kind of does give you visuals of what it represents, what the person is doing. So, I want to know what is the 231-7 is, and hopefully this is not like, because if I don't get this later on, I will go, there's an illustration about it, so hopefully this is not what I'm thinking, but this is
individuals assigned to 231-7 will be issued concealing helmets with integrated voice changes to protect their identity. On-site staff are not to remove said uniforms in the presence of other staff members. Off-duty hours are to be spent in private quarters alone. 6 D-Class personnel are to be assigned to SCP-231-7 each month for the purposes of carrying out Procedure 110 Montauk. Violent criminals are not to be used for this purpose due to the possibility of accidental fatality during the 110 Montauk process.
So you're trying to say that you only want the 6 Class D personnel that knows how to do the job, but the ones who actually are violent criminals, which basically is like murder, will not allowed to do it. And I don't know what the hell is 110 Montauk, and most definitely I'm still gonna look up to it.
Special containment procedures. Following repeated escape and suicide attempts, and based on the failure of containment for SCP-231-1 through 6, containment of SCP-231-7 has been amended to the following. SCP-231 is to be contained within a soundproof holding cell, adjacent to holding cells for 6 Class D personnel assigned for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Cameras will monitor every inch of the cell at all times, and must be manned 24 hours a day.
Dang.
Malfunctioning monitoring equipment will be replaced without delay by psychologically screened staff. Doors will be magnetically locked, openable only by positive action by the control and monitoring facility. This includes all doors linking the main holding cell to those of 6 Class D personnel.
Dang, so in other words, this is serious. What kind of serious is this? Oh lord.
SCP-231-7 is to be kept restrained to a hospital bed at all times, except for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Hydration will be provided through IV drip. Feeding will be carried out twice a day through feeding tube approved by medical personnel who have not taken the Hippocratic Oath. Under no circumstances are narcotics, anesthesia, or other unapproved medications to be administered to SCP-231-7.
The potter told his prentice to prepare him 7 jars. 6 he made with grace and skill. The last his hands did mar.
Procedure 110 Montauk is to be carried out at least once every 24 hours by Class D personnel. During Procedure 110 Montauk, at least one Security Clearance 4, 231 staff member must monitor the procedure by camera at all times. although the sound may be turned off if the vocalizations of SCP-231-7 become too distressing. Following the procedure, all Class D personnel must return to their holding cells or explosive collars will be detonated.
The cretin moon no more is howling. Gone. Its morning black. In their dreams, its face is prowling. Come to take them back.
Data. Sponge.
I know. Okay, so data per order of 05-dan. On dash and dash and dash. Information moved to eyes only documents. 231. 110 Montauk access. 231 110 Montauk is to limited to the personnel with security clearance of 42131. And so access is limited to the personnel with the security clearance. So in other words, it won't tell what is it. It's not gonna tell you.
Unredacted. Information moved to iZone document 231-110 Mondoc. Access to 231-110 Mondoc is limited to...
Y'all heard that, right? Let me go back. Y'all heard that, right?
To iZone document 231-110 Mondoc. Access to...
Y'all heard that scream back there, right? Y'all heard that.
231-110 Mondoc is limited to personnel with security clearance 4/231.
So it's like so by hearing that scream in the background, it literally sounds like a torture thing. That's what I believe.
Description: SCP-231-7 is a female between 8 and 10 years of age with...
The king is in his courting clothes. The brides are in their beds. The unborn princes wait in sleep to raise their eager heads.
SCP-231...
Shut up. Shut up. Don't. Are you dead ass serious? Yeah. Okay. Let me go back for a second. Let me hear what the red one says.
Years of age with...
The king is in his courting clothes. The brides are in their beds. The unborn princes wait in sleep to raise their eager heads.
SCP...
So, let me get this phrase. It says, female between this and this age of age. And he mentioned about the queens on their beds, the unborn princesses. So you're saying that they're pregnant, lay down on their beds, ready to give birth. That's what they're trying to say? What the fuck?
231-1 through 7 were retrieved from following a police raid on a warehouse owned by an organization called the Children of the Scarlet King. See article in the newspaper, Police Raid Satanic Sex Cult, Save 7. 24 hours after the rescue, SCP-231-1, real name, went into labor pains, giving birth 3 minutes later to SCP, causing an event resulting in confirmed casualties. Foundation personnel immediately took possession of remaining SCPs 231-2 through to 231-7, and based on notebooks recovered from the cult, instituted Procedure 110 Montauk to prevent future occurrences.
The hens were in the hen house, and 7 eggs did lay, till the fox crept in by dark of night, and stole the eggs away.
Addendum 231.
So, okay, so says that, so 231 give birth 3 minutes later to SCP blank. Now the question is, what kind of SCP? Because I didn't know that's a thing. So, and they were saying that on the newspaper, it was a ritual kind of thing. Why?
1A. Current status of SCP-231 units.
6 were broken by their bindings. 6 no more shall sing. Comes the 7th full unwinding, and all the bells will ring.
SCP-231-1. Deceased, killed during initial recovery operations while giving birth to SCP. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Alpha for more details.
When the first had given birth, then all the birds did sing. Her screaming cries did shake the skies, as she called out for her king.
SCP-231-2.
That's terrifying. So in other words, she died by giving birth to SCP blank. And he mentions about it, about a bird thing. I'm confused.
2. Deceased. Killed during attempt to remove fetus of second SCP specimen, resulting in immediate event. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Bravo for more details.
By Doctor's blade, the second bade a life into the world. Untimely hewn, neath a silent moon, the king's red flag unfurled.
SCP-231-3. Deceased. Self-terminated. Following a prolonged period of distress caused by implementation of Procedure 110 Montauk. SCP immediately underwent an event. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Charlie for more details.
Commit suicide.
His bride, the third, remained unheard, her cries for help ignored. She stopped her life with a surgeon's knife and gave it to our Lord.
SCP-231-4. Deceased. Attempted to administer SCP-500, although successful in that all traces of SCP were expelled from the system. Expelled remains immediately underwent.
Alright. And okay. Alright, it's fine. Just let me know everything how it goes. Alright. I'll lock the door for you. Alright, I'm back. It's just that my family is going, my mom's gonna pick up my brother from work, but the thing is, it's about to be 12 o'clock, and basically, they want nobody at 12. Hopefully, they come home early. So, let's get started.
Event.
Okay, so, yeah, I forgot. Okay. So, what were we talking about? Number 4 or number... Okay, alright. So, let me get this straight. 1 died after giving birth. 2, she literally kinda like commit suicide by cutting herself open. Number 3, she literally committed suicide. And her mom and her baby, it sounds like one of the SCP, whatever SCP it is, just got out from her body while she committed suicide. Number 4, they did experimentation, though the 500, and it still won't work, which means she died. I think it's like overdose kind of thing. So I'm thinking like so basically, let me get this straight. So all 7 of them were pregnant, and what they're saying that the 110 Montauk is like they're preventing them to not have kids. But what precisely they're saying, and then the guy with the red one says they remove the eggs, so they won't have babies, but they're pregnant. So you're saying that, did they seal them? Hold on, I'll continue.
Causing numerous casualties, including SCP-231-4 herself. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Delta for more details.
The fourth prepares a dagger and places it at her heart. The perfect cure cannot make pure what the king has set apart.
SCP-231-5. Deceased. Botched application of Procedure 110 Montauk resulted in SCP-231-5 giving birth to SCP 1 hour later, which then underwent event. See Casualty Report for Event 231 Echo and report on destruction of Site 231 Aleph. For more details, recruitment profile of Class D personnel was revised to minimize possibility of a second botched procedure 110 Montauk.
The fifth one's crown was bearing down upon the fox's set. It then was sundered with a mighty thunder. An apocalypse beget.
SCP-2.
So they were saying that the fifth one, they're trying to seal it off, but it was too late because she already gave birth. And it came in a terrified faith where destruction of sight. So in other words, it's that there's a monster, whatever SCP is that is starting destroying the whole site of the Site-19 while she already gave birth while they're trying to seal it off. That's bullcrap.
231-6. Deceased. Killed. During escape attempt aided and abetted by agent who had been exhibiting heightened stress levels due to prolonged exposure to SCP-231. Obtained possession of SCP and attempted to use said weapon to rescue SCP-231-6 and 231-7. Agent was killed in the resulting firefight, but a stray round resulted in the termination of SCP-231-6 as well. The features of SCP-231-6's SCP then underwent event. In the wake of this incident, O5 personnel voted by unanimous decision to amend personnel policies. See casualty report for Event 231 Foxtrot for more details.
On the sixth day, the walls gave way, and the oceans turned to ash. Her birth gave work as the earth shook underneath the king's fell lash.
SCP-231.
So in other words, 236 trying to escape to whoever that is, and both of them got shot and killed. I think that's what they're trying to say.
7. As of SCP-231-7 is successfully contained at Site.
Seventh bride will break the tides, the moon no more will shine. There comes a day not far away, she'll birth the death of time.
Addendum 231-B. This is a recording of a missive by O5.
Dear friends, it has come to my attention that recently certain rumors have surfaced regarding SCP-231. Due to a drop in staff morale, I have decided to address some of the more prevalent points. Yes, Procedure 110 Montauk is as horrible as you've heard, which is why only Class D personnel are authorized to carry it out. Yes, it does involve brutal. No, assignment to SCP-231 is not intended to test your loyalty to the Foundation, your tendencies towards, or anything else. No, SCP-231 is not a punishment detail. Yes, there are staff members who have been on SCP-231 and have successfully transferred out by their own request. No, not everyone who's worked on SCP-231 is terminated upon leaving the project. Yes, staff members who have been assigned to SCP-231 are allowed to take Class A amnesics before leaving the project if so desired. Yes, false memories are then implanted. No, none of the supposed methods for recovering or detecting false memories work. Yes, there are some of you who worked on SCP-231 and don't remember it.
So you're saying, in other words, that after y'all did a 110 Montauk, which basically, like I said, sealed off not to get having babies. In other words, they sealed off the vagina. I don't know how. So after y'all did that, y'all did some kind of shocking between the brains to forget what happened. Damn, that shit terrible. Because from there, so how the fuck y'all doing? Like, is it like every day or every month? And then people who basically, I don't think the Class D personnel died after operating it, because they'll be like, okay, they did the right thing. I need them be there at all times because these people literally know how to do the job, and they want to keep it there. So that's kind of messed up. And so. And how long, I really want to look to a point like how long would it done it, like to every day or every month? Because if it's every day, I just get the picture already. You gotta get the purple between the heads. You gotta get like brutal violence on them.
No,
bullshit.
We have not given up trying to save SCP-231-7, but research in that field must be carried out with the utmost of caution. based on the increased potency of each subsequent event associated with each subsequent SCP specimen, there is a strong possibility that SCP-231-7 event could result in an XK class end of the world scenario. This information is corroborated in notebooks recovered from the cultists. See document 7 Brides, 7 Seals, SCP-231 Adjunct B. No, putting the
Damn.
girl out of her misery is not an option. Neither is drugging her. She has to be aware of what is going on for 110 Montauk to work. One final note. The Foundation does many distasteful things in the completion of our mission, but our mission is important enough that the price is one we must pay. Containment of SCP-231 is one of our most dangerous duties, not because of any direct danger to ourselves, but because of the danger that our resolve will fail, that we will allow ourselves to either let down our guard due to our sympathy for the suffering of an innocent, or that we will allow ourselves to become monsters through the performance of monstrous acts. Just do your jobs, and save the philosophizing for the shrink. Yours sincerely, 05.
Okay, so let me see, so let me see on, not because of the direct danger of ourselves, like SCP-682. 682 is the, hard to destroy reptilian. So you're trying to say that these monsters, when they spawn, they're like godlikes, where it's very impossible to kill it. And then you're saying that it will become to the, what's it called? The end of in the end of world scenario. So in other words, the 7th one could be holding in the monstrosity. Dang.
Won't believe it when they say they're trying to save her. Why would they bother?
Whoa, go back.
To save her. Sincerely, 05. Won't believe it when they say they're trying to save her. Why would they bother? They've got exactly what they want. Exactly. When they have it.
Addendum 231-C. Update. 231-7's emotional response to Procedure 110 Montauk appears to be reduced recently, despite proper execution of said procedure, increasing danger of SCP undergoing a event. 2 options have been proposed. Number 1, development of a new containment procedure with higher emotional response than Procedure 110 Montauk.
Ew.
Number 2, administration of a Class A amnestic to SCP-231-7, allowing for a return to base emotional response state. Said memory modification is to be administered during execution of Procedure 110 Montauk to maintain heightened emotional state following memory reset. Please advise.
The Doctor never tells his God which one he really seeks. Instead, he hides himself away, and quietly he weeps.
Doctor. Addendum 231-D. Decision. Carry out Option 2 at the first available opportunity.
Their God's own voice, he makes the choice, declaring with their word, in fear and pain, let her remain, lest she be like the third.
05.
And the third, I believe, is to increase emotionally, so that way, so like in other words, okay, let's see. 1, she died after birth. 2, she cut the guts out. 3, she commits suicide. So when he mentioned like the third is committing suicide, okay, to prevent that.
Addendum 231-E. Aftermath. Option 2 was carried out. SCP-231-7's emotional state returned to 100% efficacy. Dr. subsequently committed suicide due to heightened emotional stress. Will continue analysis of efficacy of treatment.
The Doctor's gun ended his run as he put it to his ear. As she was defiled, the pitied child, he gave it to his fear.
Doctor.
In other words, the doctor commits suicide by putting in his head. Okay.
Addendum 231F. Continued analysis of efficacy of treatment. After some analysis, I have determined that it is not necessary to perform memory modification every time Procedure 110 Montauk is carried out. In fact, it is better to delay for some time before re-administering the agent. Analysis of Subject 231-7's emotional response indicates that efficacy of Procedure 110 Montauk seems to peak between the third and fourth performance of the procedure. The dread of anticipation for the event seems to heighten emotional response for a time, before familiarity with the procedure begins to lessen the efficacy of the treatment. My recommendation is that Class A amnestics be administered once a week during Procedure 110 Montauk. The calendar has been modified accordingly.
Every week.
A memory a fickle thing, the strongest shall endure. When her weeping starts to waver, then drugs make her mind pure.
Doctor.
Okay, hold on. So I just want to make sure. I know it's gonna be long, but I want to find out something right quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a 3 minute and 45 seconds about the scenario. Okay, I literally want to put in a link in the description down below all this audio thing and this. So let's see. It will most, they literally they did a great job to do that. Keter. Okay. So all 7 females. Okay. So 24 hours after the rescue, one's on labor, giving surgery, passing the treatment. See what I told you? She died after giving birth, and then caused an event resulted in a confirmed casualty. Alright, and then both SCP 312 and 231 and 4, they were killed during attempts to remove fetuses of. Oh, okay. So you're saying that the 2 and 4, they tried to remove fetuses and they both died. Okay, in the 4, I remember the 4th one is when they gave the pill and cut the fetuses at the same time. Okay, and then the removed fetuses caused more casualties. Okay. So either one side is gonna restrain in the hospital bed and monitor the surveillance cameras at all times. And then it's 231 is contained within soundproof holding a cell. So that's what it looked like, okay. I wonder how it worked. The preliminary her for giving birth 110 Montauk is to be carried out and realized. Carried out at least once every 24 hours to Class D personnel. So in other words, it's literally preventing from pregnancies every day, every 24 hours. That sucks. Details of one procedure are currently classified. Once a month between monster and air through audio may be turned off and the vocalization becomes discussed. They want to make sure. The third is self-terminated. Yeah, commit suicide. And the thing is come out. Until Montauk was 5 giving birth before experiencing after. Okay, so they were about to do the 110 Montauk to the 5th one, but the 5th one already, like I said, they gave birth late. Okay. See, the 06, the 06 got shot. and then the SCP one afterwards. See, this is what I figured. You see that purple marks in her face? That's what I was saying. Like when they gave the thing in their hand, that's what it come up with. Purple. See, KX, class of the end of the world scenario. That's kind of hard. So let me go ahead and do the last thing. Last about the people were talking about more. Sorry, a lot of people were talking about more about the Scarlet King. To give you more explicit, more of it. So give me a few seconds. I'll be back with y'all. Okay, I found the last one. I'm literally gonna put it in the description down below so y'all can look at it. Most definitely, you know, it definitely helped us a lot of more information about it. Because compared with the other ones that I've seen, I totally understand it. I totally get it. It's like simple, yada yada, blah blah. But 231, this is like whole other level, where more torturing of the 7. But I'm talking about the specific that I'm literally looking for. The actual Scarlet King. What is it? Like, is it real? Does it spawn? What is it? So that's my thing. Like, what it has to do with 231 and 7 females with pregnancy with their 7 kids? For the king. And the king, that's what I was like referring to, direct to the point. The king. So this is another video called Exploring the SCP Foundation of the Scarlet King. I will also put in a link in the description down below. Let's get started.
The Scarlet King. Extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional threats border on the commonplace in the SCP universe, and the SCP Foundation spends a great amount of time, effort, and resources containing, or at least preventing, these threats from wiping out our existence. There are entities within the SCP universe that we would liken to gods, some of them contained by the Foundation, and some of them not.
So you're referring to the actual god that cannot be unseen. And this picture looks so scary, dude.
But one of the most mysterious and potentially world-threatening is the Scarlet King. The Scarlet King is one of the older concepts on the SCP Wiki, but is one largely wrapped up in an air of mystery, with hints of his true nature spread across the site.
What?
Due to the lack of canon within the SCP universe, ultimately the Scarlet King is whatever you believe him to be, but I'll go over some of the myths and perspectives related to this eldritch figure. To begin with, we have to go back to where it started, with SCP-231. On the surface, SCP-231 is a young girl, designated 231-7, who is pregnant with some sort of entity. Her and 6 other young girls were found in a police raid on an organization that called itself the Children of the Scarlet King. Each of the girls were pregnant, and 24 hours after the raid, one of the girls went into labor, giving birth to something unknown, which caused hundreds of casualties. The Foundation took over, containing...
Damn, this picture gives you another vision of how it looked like. Jesus.
The other 6 girls, but despite their best efforts, each of them expelled increasingly dangerous and horrific entities, the girls dying in the process. Now, only SCP-231-7 remains, and it's the Foundation's belief that if she ever gives birth to whatever's inside of her, it would result in the end of the world. Thus, they instituted daily administrations of Procedure 110 Montauk.
So let me look at this. See the female in the window. You can see her screaming. The other one in the right now that he looks disgusted by looking at it. The other ones look like they're doing some kind of surgery within the camera, and the other one looks sick. That's pretty messed up.
Believed to be one of the most horrific and cruel processes the Foundation has ever concocted. What it actually is largely a complete mystery, but there are some clues in the documentation. The procedure is performed only by D-class personnel, but specifically non-violent criminals to avoid any of them accidentally killing 231-7. The girl has to be awake and aware of the procedure, and other personnel assigned to the project are routinely swapped out due to the psychological stress, with many of them given memory-wiping amnestics to forget what they've witnessed.
What the fuck?
Additionally, 231-7's memory is also routinely wiped in order to prevent her from becoming accustomed to the procedure, as it seems it must be continually horrifying in order to prevent labor. A great amount of discussion has gone on about Procedure 110 Montauk, but ultimately it's left up to your darkest imagination. A popular tale, Fear Alone, describes a researcher newly transferred to SCP-231, and discovers that Procedure 110 Montauk is not some brutal action inflicted on a child, but is instead a D-class reading a bedtime story to a young girl. The researcher is perplexed, but another doctor reveals that they had carried out horrible actions on the other girls, but it ultimately failed. They instead realized that more important than doing the actions was people believing the actions were being done. The old gods, in this case the Scarlet King, cannot see our reality the same way that we can, so they cannot witness the actions done to SCP-231, but the Scarlet King can sense fear. If enough people believe that Procedure 110 Montauk is some monstrous crime done to a child, the fear carried by those people will satiate the Scarlet King. Again, there's no canon, so you can accept this perspective or not.
So, like, in other words, is that as the god himself, he more paying attention to the people screaming within the kids, because that way he, like, loves it. Like, he's like the opposite of the good, he's like the worst kind. Okay.
Another tale, New Job, gives a slightly different perspective on 231 and their offspring. This tale describes how, when the Foundation first secured the pregnant girls, they also recovered some notebooks written by the priests of the cult of the Scarlet King. These writings made it clear that if all 7 girls gave birth, some sort of apocalypse would occur, presumably involving the Scarlet King. Additionally, the writings also contain detailed instructions on how to carry out Procedure 110 Montauk, which is the only way to prevent a birth. The Foundation found this suspiciously convenient, as a cult hell-bent on bringing about this apocalypse would have no reason to possess a ritual to prevent it.
So in other words, inside that book that wrote about it, the worship of the Scarlet King, you're trying to tell me that there is a way to prevent that pregnancy also? Like, what the fuck?
Further research on the Foundation's part led them to believe that these girls were connected to the 7 brides of the Scarlet King, and that the 7th girl was not like the rest. Rather than giving birth to monsters like the other brides, the 7th gave birth to heroes opposed to the king. The O5 Council ultimately decided to accept this belief, and allowed SCP-231-7 to give birth. The result was SCP-999.
Excuse me? How?
SCP-999 can generally be considered one of the nicest and most benevolent of these sentient SCPs. An amorphous mass of gelatinous slime that playfully bounces around to give hugs to people, especially those that are unhappy or hurt. Contact with SCP-999 causes an immediate euphoria, capable of curing even the most crippling depression.
What?
And SCP-999 will also risk itself to protect or rescue others. The tale explains that SCP-999 is the only entity capable of overthrowing the Scarlet King, although it is currently only a child and will need time to grow to its full strength.
So you're telling me that what I've read on about the 999 is still baby. That's what y'all trying to say. That when it's full grown, that's where it will reveal. Ooh, Lord have mercy. I was not expect that. And how did they know that it's 999? That is my question, though.
The myth of Procedure 110 Montauk is perpetuated in order to fool the cult of the Scarlet King into thinking the Foundation is playing into their hands. But eventually, a battle will commence between 999 and the Scarlet King. If you believe this tale, at least. But these SCPs and tales don't really give us a good idea of what the Scarlet King is. For a decent perspective, we can look at the tale titled Dust and Blood. The story speaks of the earliest times when the Elder Gods were first formed out of the darkness. One of these was named Karak, and he differed from the others by being cursed with awareness of his existence, and existence was pain. Angered by this awareness of pain, Karak decided that it would be better if he didn't exist, and more so, if nothing existed. Karak began feeding on the other gods, growing greater and stronger as he consumed them, but so did his pain and hate grow stronger as well. In time, Karak consumed or subjugated all the elder gods that didn't flee from him, and he became king of the darkness below. The area beyond his kingdom, the worlds of creation, went to war with Karak and his servants, which still continues to this day. Karak took a wife, becoming known as the Scarlet King in the process, and had 7 daughters with her. These 7 daughters became his 7 brides, and he placed 7 seals on them so that they would never die. These brides had children of their own, monstrous creations that served the Scarlet King. The tale implies that SCP-682, one of the most dangerous and fearsome entities held by the Foundation, is a child of the 4th bride. Differing from the rest, however, the 7th bride was not utterly broken by the Scarlet King, and instead gave birth to heroes that walked on 2 legs and fought to overthrow the Scarlet King. Ultimately, however, the Scarlet King and his servants have continued their conquests, defeating any challengers, and will presumably one day destroy all of creation. When We Came Home, written by the same author as Dust and Blood, tells of the final battle against the Scarlet King, when 7 warriors carrying 7 sacred spears managed to kill the king and cast his body back into the abyss, restoring creation in the process. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention SCP-231-7, an entity that many perceive to be at the very least related to the Scarlet King. The author of the skip, Dr. Clef, has said that it was not written to be related to the Scarlet King, merely reminiscent of it and SCP-231, but it's open enough for people to choose to believe what they wish. SCP-231-7 is a massive, primeval entity located in an alternate universe, and known to be a devourer of worlds. This entity was a grave threat, and was finally captured by an order of mystics, who crafted 7 chains from the bones and sinews of the Devourer's 7th bride. 6 of these chains are currently broken, with the 7th likely to break within the next few decades. The Foundation has no means of fixing the chains, and no means of preventing the Devourer from entering our world once freed.
So in other words, you're saying that if the last one broke, we're fucked. That's what it's trying to say.
A fake ritual was created by the Foundation leadership in order to suppress fears that they cannot contain the entity. This ritual incorporates various religious elements as well as phrases related to the Scarlet King. As this ritual is fabricated, there's no real evidence that 231-7 has any connection to the Scarlet King, but a popular theory connects the 7 chains to the 7 girls from SCP-231, and when the 7th girl gives birth, the final chain will be broken. Finally, there is Tufto's proposal for SCP-001, titled The Scarlet King. The proposal describes the King as a largely unknown entity that exists in a number of dimensions simultaneously, but for whatever reason is unable to enter the prime dimension, that is, our dimension. The Foundation believes that the Scarlet King has been attempting to break into our dimension for hundreds of years, and if it ever succeeds, will cause a drastic alteration of reality or eradication of human life. Despite this threat, however, the Scarlet King is given the object class of safe, and the description states that containment is unnecessary. The reason for this, of course, forms the bulk of the proposal, and is a bit more complicated than an average skip. The proposal also mentions SCP-231-7, and that high-ranking personnel are to be informed that it is in fact the Scarlet King, although the truth of that statement is unknown and likely dubious.
So let me get this straight to the whole thing process. So he's a god that it can be another dimension of God that wants to come into another dimension in some way, somehow. Now, the people who actually did the ritual is they found a book that basically had to process to reconquer a god. And then come in from the god that from the 7 females, all of them has a different own kind of monster, and there's one monstrosity that they might think they could be however they want to imagine, could be the one with the 7 chains. So and then you come up that instead of that, they decided to give it birth to the last one, and it's 999. He's like a hero, right? So and then you're saying that, so how could the Scarlet King does not I don't think he manifested himself yet, because not all 7 not the last one did not born as the monstrosity, but as a hero to be against that. Okay. So much information, dude.
The remainder of the proposal consists of a large number of lengthy documents and interviews, and I won't take up time going through them individually. To summarize, the proposal is focused around Dr. Robert Montauk, the project lead on SCP-231, 231-7, and the Scarlet King. Montauk has been working on studying the Scarlet King for decades, and has come no closer to truly understanding what it is. Montauk begins interviewing the leader of the cult that the SCP-231 girls come from, who turns out to be a fairly cryptic individual. One notable thing he mentions, however, is that there are 3 laws which must be understood in order to understand the Scarlet King. The law of blood, the law of concrete, and the law of howling. The law of blood was enacted by the Scarlet King, and it represents his rule, filled with hatred, cruelty, and an iron will. It is the old way of things, armies of slaves, blood rights, and chaos amidst order. The law of concrete is the inverse, modern civilization, where everything must be studied and understood so that it can be described, categorized, and filed away. The law of howling is the tension and clashing between these two opposites, and it is here that the Scarlet King takes form. The Scarlet King is ultimately an idea, but the tension between the pre-modern and the modern, the difference between the accepted and the understood, is what allows him to exist. Perhaps most interestingly is that the SCP Foundation itself is what caused this to happen, as the Foundation's drive to understand and categorize everything, in this case the Scarlet King, created the tension between what was previously just accepted, and so they created the Scarlet King.
Okay, alright. So, that's what it is. So, enable for him to be appeared, there are 3 laws. Okay, so there's 3 ways, and everything based of all 3. That's what SCP has been created. Oh, very genius, Whoever made this stuff, man, you're a genius.
If SCP-231-7 gave birth, it would allow the Scarlet King to enter our dimension, and so Procedure 110 Montauk exists. Interestingly, the specifics of the procedure don't actually matter, so much as the fact that the procedure was created not out of scientific understanding, but out of hate and rage from Dr. Montauk. Dr. Montauk believed that the Scarlet King had taken his brother from him, and so he devised the procedure specifically to hurt the king, and that's why it works, because it follows the law of blood and not the law of concrete. The lessening of tension between the two prevents 231-7 from giving birth, and so the SCP Foundation has decided to change the classification of the Scarlet King to safe, and attempt to not worry as much about understanding and classifying the entity. In a twist on standard operating procedures, not understanding this anomaly is actually safer than understanding it.
So in other words, you're trying to tell me that, so when they're trying to do the 110 Montauk, trying to prevent to giving birth, you're giving it into a chance where the king will manifest himself. Now, by understanding that scenario, they decided, you know what, like, fuck it, like, let's stop doing this because we're literally gonna manifest the under gods, and we don't want that happen. Like, we don't want this existing. Let's see what happens now after we're gonna change some few things here and there to see the results. Now that's very clever.
Ultimately, however, Dr. Montauk leaves the Foundation and joins the cult of the Scarlet King, as he saw the Foundation as a group of hollow men lacking a path, and he would rather take the wrong path than no path at all. If this proposal sounds complicated, that's because, well, it is, and it's likely I've misinterpreted some part of it, so I suggest reading it for yourself. So, none of this really explains what the Scarlet King looks like, or how he'll devour our world or dimension, but that's part of the point. The mystery and ambiguity of a terrible godlike entity goes back to Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, and the Scarlet King is no different. Whether you think the Scarlet King is a human-like crimson entity, a massive whale, or something less tangible like an idea, the point remains that the Scarlet King is something deeply opposed to our current existence.
Okay, so the seven seals, seven rings, 7 brides for the Scarlet King. They gathered around underneath a bed, and the foolish and the wise. They fear the children that yet to be born. Those with voice shall reach the skies. The faithful watcher of the forest is coming of the king. Okay, let's say. Their lanterns bright, and they will light the nights in the new world he shall bring. Wow, this is okay. So I'm gonna pause here because I've already this case scenario is very hard to understand. At the same time, now I get it more specifically who is the 231, the Scarlet King. Now I can tell that the Scarlet King is like a universe guy that is very hard to contain him, but basically is a god that it won't reveal. It's very interesting, very interesting. Then come up with sealing up the females, and the females, they're okay. That's very good. Really totally understandable. I'm in a comfortable zone because I am very tired. It's already 11. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. You guys really love it. Hit a like because I know this is very long for you guys. I know I understand that, but I mean the more we are literally learning from it, that's the main part of it. Alright guys, I'm gonna talk to this buddy of mine, so hope you guys enjoy.